Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark. We're back with the news hour for March 22nd. If you're watching live, if you're watching this, it's the 23rd on YouTube or your podcast catcher of choice. It's been an interesting week. I am off next week, so we will definitely have all the streams that I usually do. I might do extra streams at night. Hello, Night Duck. How you doing? And I might also get into more things to play, so that might be good for next week's show. But for now, just dive into what I've been playing. Probably going to be a quicker episode today. It wasn't much news, and I didn't play many games because I focused on one game, which will be my last game that I will mention. So we'll start off with, playing NCAA. Just having fun. I finally got offered the Penn State job, so I'm now at Penn State, dominating the Big Ten. That's my either listen to podcast or put a YouTube video on game. So I've been playing through that. Thank you for the sub, Night Duck. You say, I need you to watch the Code Vein 2 cutscenes and tell me whether they have a better cinematography than the Death Stranding 2 trailers. Thank you. I'll check them out. Yeah, maybe we'll even play them before a stream and discuss them, since I will have a little bit more time to get set up for things like that this week. But, so NCAA has been my security blanket, emotional support game. You know, when I just want to watch a video, listen to the podcast. Oh, no, I know. I can watch them and then pick out ones I want to talk about is kind of what I mentioned. Sorry if I was wasn't clear on that. And then, funny thing, I was discussing this with Metal Militia at his kid's birthday party. I was just randomly driving home one day, and I was like, you know what? Soccer season is coming to an end over in Europe. My team is doing real well. Could win 2-3 titles. I'm getting excited about it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get FIFA 26, or FC 26. Because now that I don't have Game Pass Ultimate, I won't get it for free in 2 months. So, I may just go see, what it's cost, I don't want to go to GameStop, but if GameStop has it for like $20, we'll see. So as soon as I get home, I turn on my PlayStation to play the end of Resident Evil Requiem, which we'll talk about in a second. And the first thing I see is an ad. And again, I did not say this in front of my PlayStation. So this isn't one of those where I said it and then the people listening put it in. I was driving home. Maybe my phone connected to PlayStation. Who knows? With that kind of technology. But popped up $20 if you're a PS Plus member. And I'm like, yes, sir. So I grabbed that and I played through it. First thing I noticed is the game is much better than I remember from playing in the trial at the end of last year. The goaltending is much better, which is a big thing. The only thing I'm still have a problem with, and this is anybody that doesn't play soccer games will probably just tune out with this, but it's a very specific thing. There are 2 levels, or 3 levels near the top. There's professional, there's world class, and I think there's some like insane, I forget what they call it, the top level, the one above world class. And I played on professional and was just running through teams like 4 or 5-0, even on 3-minute matches, and it was just like, this is fun in football because theoretically I will run up against a team that will give me problems and I'll win by 1 touchdown or a field goal, or I haven't lost much yet in football, but in college football. But I was just running through teams. Like, teams that should be giving me a problem weren't giving me a problem at all. So I bumped it up to world class, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't do anything. So it's one of the weird things in sports games, and it feels like it's only soccer, because with hockey, I can go from, the third highest level to the second highest level and still compete and still play well, suffering from success, yes. I can still, do that. College football, do the same thing. I really only stay at the level below where I am now, in college football, just because it's just they turn your brain off, listen to podcasts or YouTube videos, game. So I don't want to be stressed too much with it, but and I don't want to be losing all the time either. But for some reason with soccer, when you go up between professional and world class, there is a difference where I feel they believe you need to know how to play every single little aspect of the game. Meaning, you have to know how to protect your dribble. You have to know how to do all the special skill moves. You have to know how to, cross properly every time. You have to know how to play defense at a high level. It's like this, instead of a gradual, up, which most sports game has leading to the top, it literally goes like this for professional, and then all of a sudden you get to world class, and it's like up here in terms of skill needed. And I've never seen a jump in difficulty like that in a sports game. I'm not the best at the sports game, and I'm not complaining that it's just I would like a little more competition, but I am not good enough at them to be at the level they want me to be at world class. But I am too good for professional, and there does not seem to be a middle ground for that. It would be like, the way it feels is going from easy to insanity mode in an action game. Where normal usually lies, or hard before insanity. There's none of that. It goes from you're dominating to you can't get a shot on goal, and there's no middle ground. Maybe there's sliders I can tune. I can check out a Reddit or something to see if other people are having this issue, but that was just the one thing I was playing. So I was back on professional and dominating again. It's a secondary podcast game, but it's the one thing that I noticed, and it seems to only be soccer related. So if anybody else plays FC out there listening to this podcast, feel free. Let us know in the Discord, whether that's TC Tams or ours, or, send us an email or go on Blue Sky. Let me know if it is a soccer thing. Because like I said, I play just about every sports game that comes out, and I've never seen a jump between two levels like there is between professional and world class. And I can't imagine what world class to legendary or whatever the top level has to be. Yeah. And I'm someone that's not ashamed to say I play at the middling to higher levels, which is probably why I never finish a Dark Souls game, because once it starts getting really hard, is when I lose momentum in it. But yeah, it's really just the spike. It's not the difficulty. I could probably bang my head on world class for 2 months and then finally be good at it. But I'm 40 years old, going 41. I don't want to bang my head against a sports game when I do that already with, other games. Yeah. Racing might be a similar thing. Where it's just, yeah, so that's the thing. I might look into it, but the only thing that shocks me, and the reason I bring it up on the podcast here, is just because, like I said, with every other sports game that I play, I can go to that next level if I want to, and it becomes competitive. And I'm like, okay, every game means something. I got to make sure I'm doing everything right. But yeah, even if I'm doing things right on world class, it just seems like the AI knows, the computer player. However, because AI has a different connotation nowadays, the computer player knows exactly what I'm going to do with the ball. And nobody's open. And it's just, yeah. But, yeah, so that's my little rant about FC. Game's great. Atmosphere, amazing. they've done a great job with the atmosphere. The game feels like a soccer game that I would watch on TV. The goalies react like soccer goalies, and if I'm not picking corners on professional, I do get stopped. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, the big game that I'm sure you all want to hear. I'm not going to do spoilers. If you listen to TC Tam, or They Call This a Movie podcast, we had a mini discussion on there, and it's on the Discord there as well, about Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Requiem. Dan is playing it, but, since he does have a child and, other obligations that I do not have, he is playing it at a lot slower of a pace than I am. So I'm going to do a spoiler cast with him whenever he finishes, because I think it'd be fun to actually talk about it with somebody, and just bounce off things like that, like we do with all the spoiler casts we've done in the past here. So just my overall thoughts, and I'll give you my score at the end. I think the best thing about this game is that they, hello goat, they do the split between Grace and Leon pretty much perfect. There are times when each section drags a little bit, but at no point, like if they did a full game of either one, like 13, 15 hours of either kind, I think it would be too much. It would get too repetitive. I don't know what new things you could add, but the split is perfect. It's just enough of resource management with Grace and sneaking and doing all that. If you want to make it harder on yourself, you can do ink ribbons with her. And survival horror, classic, do that. Sneak around, you don't have to kill all the zombies. With what's it called? With Leon, it's an action game. It's basically RE4 turned up a little bit. Not as actiony as RE6, but you have a lot of ammo. You can just mow through zombies. I ended up with something like 400 machine gun bullets by the end, just because I wasn't using the machine gun, because I was getting so many bullets and ways to craft bullets for my handgun and shotgun and rifle, that I didn't need to use the machine gun. There's only one part at the very end on the final boss where it's like, oh, machine gun, this is what the machine gun's for. And then that's what I used most of my bullets there. And still had a bunch left over. Story-wise, it's a Resident Evil story. So, it's not great. And it kind of trips over itself at times in terms of what it's trying to do. I think the ideas they were going for was pretty good. The thought of, trying to figure a way to transfer memories. So if you clone somebody, essentially somebody never dies. Philosophical thought there. But they do it in the most ham-fisted way that Resident Evil does with these things. The idea that they were cloning, people to use in experiments and, and stuff like that. And they were just having a bunch of bodies just to, like, no regard for human life, and things. And they get mostly there, but a lot of the world conspiracy umbrella connections. There was a Tricell reference for those that know that. Kind of gets a little convoluted. Maybe the DLC closes some of those loops, because it's supposed to be story focused, like a story extension. So maybe some of those loops are closed. I don't want to mention them, obviously. Trying to be no spoiler here. But yeah, story wise, it's Resident Evil. It's not the best, but it's to the level of, I guess the best comparison is like a Metal Gear Solid, where the story's bonkers and when put to scrutiny doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's pretty cool while you're playing the game. Like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds right. Yeah, I mean, sure, that's what you would do. Yeah, I mean, that's the logical outcome for that experiment. I mean, sure. Now, when you think about it, when you're not playing a game, like, that makes no sense. Like, why would anybody do that? But, yeah, there was some retconning because what I figured out was I think what they're going with timeline canon-wise is remake, at least for this one, like I think I said before, all you need to play, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, real fast, I got blood in my nose. Yeah, so it's to know what's going on, you've had to have played 2, 4, and 6. And know a little bit about 8. You can play through 8, but you just need to know about 8. And 1, obviously, is the originator of the story. Like I said before, play 2 and 4, watch a video on 6, and you'll get what you need. And you only really need to watch the Leon parts of 6. So it seems like what they're doing canon is anything that's in the remakes, which is 2, 3, 4, and 1, I guess. And any other remakes they do. And then probably 7, 8, and 9. So, like, anything that happened in original 1, 2, and 3, Code Veronica, 5 and 6. Well, 6 a little bit, but, like, none of that. They're retconning a lot of that stuff to sort of try to make it a cohesive story. And sometimes that gets in the way for people that played all the games, and, you know, it makes character choices seem weird at times when you're reading stuff, but without getting into specifics, it's hard to explain, but overall, I think it's fine. It doesn't land the plane, as I've been saying. Specifically, I wanted a little more, and maybe the story DLC gives me that little more, but I did want a little more from the story. But with Resident Evil, you're kind of taking that grain of salt that the story's not going to be great. But in regards to everything else, the weapons feel great. The action, the fights, the boss fights, some of them are, you know, mediocre, but, you know, the big ones are great. And spectacle and all that stuff. You know, each weapon feels different. Even when you buy the upgraded weapons, they feel different than the weapons you were using, which is always a positive in action games. Grace feels weak, Leon feels strong, which is what they were going for. But she gets stronger as she gets more confident throughout the story. But I think the main thing that's going to give it the score I give it at the end here is I 100% hope and wish. I don't know if it will happen, but if it was my choice, it would. The voice actress that plays Grace would be nominated for a Game Award or any of those Game of the Year things, any Game Award at the end of the year. She is spectacular in this game. Just constantly, Grace stays Grace. She doesn't all of a sudden change because it's been some time and she's learned some things. She's still nervous, still got the stutter. The stutter doesn't bother me. It seems to bother a lot of people. I think it's very much for a nervous, anxious person. I do it sometimes. You know, you stutter when you're not sure of the right answer, and you think it'll be a bad thing to not know the right answer, so you stutter a little bit. Her screams are great. Her panic, especially in the beginning, when she hits emotional beats. There are 2 scenes in this game that if you have to send video to a voting panel, I would send those 2. I'm not going to mention them because Dan's not there yet, to get nominated. She is fantastic, and I hope she gets more work in the future. I know she's a regular working actress as well, not just exclusively voice actress, because she was really, really good. Leon's actor is fine. He's what he is. He brought a lot of emotion to this, and not just, you know, even though he's got the 80s action one-liners and things, when it needs to be emotional, he got to that level. But the Grace voice actress was on another level in this game. And so, yeah. And overall, the game looks gorgeous, even without the we'll mention it in the news. Even without the DLSS 5 or whatever they're trying to push as improving it. The game, I played it on the regular PS5, not even a Pro, not even on my PC. Game looks gorgeous. I can't imagine what it would look like on like a 5000 series GPU, you know, with everything bumped up, or even on a Pro. It's just gorgeous. You can tell they put a lot of time and effort into this game. So hopefully the DLC is good. It won't change my score. So I give it a 9 out of 10. It is probably the best thing, and that's a good point. I didn't mention that for the audio listeners. Night Duck said the biggest thing about the graphics is that it still looks good on Switch 2 and performs well enough on Switch 2. And that's a big deal. And that shows you how much work they put into it to make sure it wasn't just something that was meant for high-end PCs to see the gorgeousness. But yeah, so like I said, 9 out of 10. It's probably my second or third favorite. I haven't decided where to put it. Resident Evil game I played. I have a soft spot, and I love RE2 Remake. And that's my top. And then either Remake 1 or this is 2 and 3. And then 4 Remake is 4. Regular 4 is somewhere around there too, but excuse me. But yeah, they've done a fantastic job with the remakes. The only one that stinks, and it's probably all the way at the bottom of my list, is 3. 3 wasn't well done. 3's not a good story anyway. It's probably both 3s are at the bottom of my list. It's probably like the 3s and 6 are down there. And then everything else is above. Like there's a gulf between those 3 games and everything else. Yeah, so highly recommend it if you play Resident Evil games. I 100% think Tom will not play this game. There is way more gore than you can ever imagine. There is a little weapon that you pump into a zombie and they explode. And when I say explode, it's not like boom. It's like blood on the walls, splatter everywhere. And it's very well done. I feel like this is the type of game that fits Resident Evil better. As much as I like Village, Village didn't feel like a Resident Evil game. It felt like a really good horror action game. 7 felt like a horror game, but not Resident Evil. 9 seems like getting back to that Resident Evil vibe, and it's very, very well done. Depending on how many great games I play this year, I could easily see it being in my top 5. I don't think it's going to be hard to knock it out of the top 5. I'd have to play 5 other better games than it, obviously. Not to sort of explain what a top 5 list is, but it's not like one of these where I'm saying, oh, it's top 3, and then like 2 games can knock it out of that. No. Right now it's solid top 5. There are plenty of things coming down the pike that should end up beating it for like top 3. Then it would be 7. I mean, I don't know, man. How do numbers work? Yeah, so I highly recommend it if you play Resident Evil games. And we'll have a spoiler cast at some point this year, whenever Dan gets done with it. I'll do another playthrough on my own just to rehash before that. Probably try and get some of the trophies that I missed. But yeah, good shit. It's really good. So yeah, let me just make sure everything is good here. So one thing I did not check. Yeah, so just... Yeah, I would love to know what you guys think of RE9 if you're playing it, and what you think, either over on our Discord or probably most likely the TCTM Discord, the They Call This Movie one. It's only $1, and there's some good conversation going on over there. So yeah, let's switch over into the news. All right. As it passes 6 million in sales, Capcom officially confirms Resident Evil Requiem is the series' fastest-selling game. No surprise from Video Games Chronicle. In early March, the publisher announced that the game had sold 5 million copies in less than a week, attributing its hugely successful launch weekend to Requiem's worldwide acclaim. It stopped short, however, officially declaring that Requiem reaching of the 5 million milestone made it Resident Evil's biggest launch. Now, Capcom has announced that Resident Evil Requiem has passed 6 million in sales and has officially confirmed that it is the fastest that the title in the series has ever reached that milestone. Noting that the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil is on March 22nd. By the way, happy birthday, Resident Evil, today. It added, Capcom is readying various plans for the anniversary to delight series fans, such as a collaboration between Universal Studios Japan and Resident Evil Requiem in 2026, and orchestral concerts in Japan, the US, and Europe. So Requiem did really well, and it's good for a game. Oh no, that's no problem, Goat. We haven't been around much either between softball trips and stuff, so no worries there. So Requiem, and I think the fact that it is good on everything it's on, including Switch 2, is helping the numbers a lot as well. It's a really spectacular release, and much different than what I thought when it got announced what it would be. All right, and on the downside of Resident Evil Requiem, I know we've been talking a whole lot about it, but it was front and center with the DLSS 5 AI filter garbage that went on. For those of you on the video, you can see and you've probably seen on the internet, the DLSS off, which looks perfectly fine and great, and then DLSS on, it looks like everything's got an AI filter and a TikTok, Instagram filter, and as somebody pointed, everybody has been yassified. So the story, NVIDIA met with criticism for DLSS 5's photoreal graphic alterations. NVIDIA has announced DLSS 5, the next generation of its image-enhancing technology, which it claims is the most significant breakthrough in computer graphics since the debut of real-time ray tracing. Whereas the previous iterations of DLSS used AI technology to upscale game resolution or improve frame rates, DLSS 5 uses an AI model to alter the visuals of the supported games with what NVIDIA calls photoreal lighting and materials. DLSS 5 takes a game's color and motion vectors for each frame as input and uses an AI model to infuse the scene with photoreal lighting and materials that are anchored to a 3D source, or the source 3D content and consistent from frame to frame, the company announced on Monday. It is bridging the divide between rendering and reality. DLSS 5 empowers game developers to deliver on a new level photoreal computer graphics previously only achieved in Hollywood visual effects. Big reaction. I'll just read a couple of these here. Danny O'Dwyer over on Blue Sky said, weird that this impressive lighting tech also randomly turns everybody into yassified looking maxed freaks, or looks maxed freaks. It's like all this technology can't help itself but sexualize everything it touches, which is a great point if you've seen the comparisons. But like through the lens of a teenage boy. And it says, clearly this is a massive glow up for environments. Alex Donaldson said on Blue Sky. The character stuff is uncanny and weird though, and it feels like an artistic expression risk being squeezed out. I wonder how much devs can get in and tweak the model to their artistic intent. Wish I'd been in these briefs to ask a few more questions. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's essentially, I think the big point, the last thing that I read there, is the main issue here. Like, the AI stuff that DLSS4 and other things were doing, where it was taking data that was already there and just improving it. This seems to be just writing its own data based on... Tom and Jonathan are much more experienced in this, so I could be talking out my ass a little bit, but like interpreting what should be there instead of actually upscaling what is there, which is where the losing artistic intent for a lot of things and why the humans look really weird, but the backgrounds look really good. Because a lot of backgrounds, you can just put a filter over a 2D image, and like Night Dot said, and just, yeah. And as Night Dot said, more update, this is also completely unrelated to existing DLSS, they're just lumping it into the same brand. Yeah, this is, yeah, it's basically what it's doing to... It's taking a lot of the character out of the humans or the creatures in the game to make it. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, it basically eliminated the rain. I see what you're saying there. That's a bad update to get. Yeah, but anyway, this is... I can't wait for this AI stuff to fall off a cliff. It probably won't anytime soon. I really want it to, but... yeah, this was a big news thing all week. You've probably had much more updates than I have. I have another story here as well. But, yeah. It's not great. Yeah, so the trailer has like 16% of likes compared to views, and it's just everybody's just shitting on this thing. Yeah, I'm not really trying to rush through this. If you can see, I'm struggling with my nose being real stuffy here, but yeah, it's what people think they want, but it's not really what is good for video games. The Uncanny Valley is not a good thing. Alright, now we'll move on to fun news all the way out here. The nearly 20-year-old PS3 just got another system update. The console, which turns 20 in November, has received a surprise update to version 4.93, about a year after the previous 4.92 update. Sony's support page gives a vague description of the update, saying this system software updates to improve system performance. Yeah, in reality, update will have likely been added to make it more difficult to jailbreak the PS3 console, as each new firmware update usually comes with new protection measures, which hackers then have to break again. It may also be to update the console's Blu-ray player inscription key, as Sony warns players. Please note, to play Blu-ray disc, your PS3 system needs a renewed Blu-ray player encryption key. Please update your PS3 system software to the newest encryption key. So if you're still using a PS3 and it's not jailbroken, you might need to jailbreak it again. Make sure you update it so you can keep playing your Blu-rays on it. So, yeah, it's kind of funny that they're going back to do all this work just for, to keep people from hacking a system that's 20 years old. Anyway, moving on. This one's for Ant, if he's listening. PlayStation Portal is getting a new 1080p high-quality mode this week. He's probably already seen this, but I pulled it just in case if he has not noticed it. The latest update for Sony streaming devices set to roll out globally from March 18th. Designed to deliver higher visual fidelity, smoother interactions, and a more seamless overall experience. The main highlight of this update is the new 1080p high quality mode, which players can select while streaming either through remote play or cloud streaming. While players already have the option to stream at either 720p or 1080p, the new 1080p high quality mode increases the streaming bitrate, allowing for higher video quality. Naturally, this will use more data, meaning players will have to ensure they have high enough streaming bandwidth to accommodate the increase in picture quality. So I don't know if he's already noticed this, but if he hasn't, he might want to go check it. It might give a better better video for his PlayStation Portal. Next up, this is for our Pokemon fans out there. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness is available on Nintendo Switch 2. The game, which was first released in 2005, is the first Pokemon game to be added to the Nintendo GameCube portion of the Nintendo Retro Game offering. First announced last year alongside Pokemon Coliseum, it is now available to users who subscribe to the expansion pack play-on. Pokemon XD Gale was first released for Nintendo GameCube on August 4th, 2005. The game is a spin-off RPG set in Ori, the same location as Pokemon Coliseum. Players are tasked with fighting and capturing shadow Pokemon, of which there are 83 in the game. Yep, so if you have a Switch 2 and you have the expansion pack, Nintendo Switch Online, you can play Gale of Darkness now. If you're looking for a Pokemon on your Switch that is not Scarlet and Violet. All right, next up, Xbox reveals the rest of March Game Pass titles, including Disco Elysium, Resi 7, and Absalom, and Final Fantasy IV. They've been slowly putting each Final Pixel remaster Final Fantasy, just to let you know. Alright, games coming to Xbox Game Pass in March. DreamWorks Gabby's Dollhouse, Ready to Party, is out. South of Midnight is now on Premium, joining Game Pass Ultimate and PC. The Alters, now with Premium. Disco Elysium, Ultimate Premium PC Game Pass. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Ultimate Premium PC. Absalom, Ultimate Premium PC. Nova Roma, Ultimate PC. The Long Dark, Ultimate Premium PC. Resident Evil Biohazard, speaking of Resident Evil games, Ultimate Premium PC. Barbie Horse Trails, Trails, not Trials. It's not a Phoenix Wright game. Ultimate Premium PC. Claire Obscure, now joining Premium. Now a Premium, joining Ultimate PC. Ultimate Premium PC for Final Fantasy IV. Please note that Peppa Pig World Adventures and Mad Streets will be leaving on March 31st. So. Ooh. I obviously, it's well known on this website. I haven't played many Pokemon games. Currently playing Silver for the first time for Podcast Prime. So that sounds interesting. To steal other people's Pokemon. And finally, this is a story I talked to Tom about. It's an old story, but I just wanted to put it on here to I just wanted to put this out here because I think it got passed over between my vacation and all that stuff. But WWE 2K6, I'm going to see when this story came out. It kind of got lost. But they have probably the most egregious thing that I've seen in like a sports game, in quotes, in terms of special editions and all. So, just going to go through them. And be aware that this isn't if you get one, you get the rest. What you get is what you get. And you have to still get the other things and the other things. So, the standard edition, the $70 game, if you pre-ordered it, which you can't do now, you would get the Joe Hendry pack, which now you have to pay extra for if you didn't pre-order. Joe Hendry's a wrestler, so you just get Joe Hendry and all of his stuff, including his My Faction Evo card, which is a big deal in all of these things. The $100 edition, the King of Kings edition, it includes the... actually, it does seem it includes everything. Oh, somebody lied to me. But anyway, It gets the premium pass on season 1. You get a playable Triple H or Stephanie McMahon, and you get a signature taunt emote for the island. The Attitude Era edition, the $130 edition, gets you the premium pass for seasons 1 through 4, playable Rock 99, Kane 98, China 97, a bunch of Evo, My Faction Evo cards, the Raw's War 98 arena, Undertaker emote for the island, the Shawn Michaels DX emote for the island, and MVC currency and all of those things. And then the final one, the $150 edition, you get the ringside pass for the first 6 seasons, which I guess is the full year. You get Shawn Michaels DX, Randy Savage from 98, Roddy Piper from 98, the WCW Thunder Arena, because everybody wants the Thunder Arena, the Diamond Dallas Page Bang emoji, and a WrestleMania 42 pack, including the WrestleMania 42 Arena and 3 My Faction Persona cards. So, the reason I want to point this out is I play FC and all that, as I mentioned, and have played 2K NBA games. This is not anything crazy out of the ordinary. This is to the extreme of what those games offer, and they seem to be going so much into the VC island card route, and I don't think they know how to do it, because the fact of offering that you have so many wrestlers in a game and then going, oh, but they're all on season passes. Instead of, they used to have a thing where you could pay $40, $50 and get everything. Now you have to wait through the year to get everything. So it was just a thing I wanted to bring up because I mentioned with Tom, he did not see this. So I want to point this out to him and just get it off my chest because I've been thinking about it for a while here. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining me. For those of you that were here for the pre-show, unfortunately, my Gators lost, which means my bracket is done in March Madness, since I did pick them to win the national championship again. But yeah, so got sad update while I was streaming here. But anyway, we're back tonight with Mega Man 6. We beat Mega Man 5 last time. Oh, I didn't talk about Mega Man 5. Act like this is at the beginning. Again, Mega Man 5, better than 4. And stuff wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. We got through it pretty cleanly, pretty easily. I think it took 2 or 3 tries. And mainly because I got bad luck. And pushed for shots instead of healing. I like the level designs. They were fun. Not too complicated. Hopefully 6 is another improvement on 4. I think it goes like 2, 3, 1, 5, 4 right now. And then 6 will either push 4 to the bottom or it'll be the bottom. So we'll start that tonight. And then Thursday, we're probably going to try and get through all of Final Fantasy VI. Friday is set to be Podcast Prime. I do have to talk to Tom about that because there may be some weird scheduling thing with that if we're going to do it on Friday. And then Saturday, Trails. And then Sunday back here with the News Hour. So, thank you all for joining me. It has been fun as always. And, yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye!